Hey everyone, welcome back to Time Freedom Daily. This is your spot for daily nuggets for business building, motivation, investing, crypto, everything in between to get you that knowledge to take it to the next level. Happy Monday, Chris, my brother. How you doing today?
I am fantastic. This weather this weekend has been amazing in South Florida. We woke up to like low 60s this morning. It was great.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Been
beautiful,
been
beautiful.
already exercising outside, came back in here to do a little research for our audience here. So yeah, I'm
Absolutely,
having a great
absolutely. I love
time.
Mondays. I know it's special on your heart. In just a little bit, we're going to be talking about how do I start believing in myself, and
Indeed.
it really is. It's a cancer across society where people are always doubting themselves and don't think they can do things. And we're going to try to, you know, get you in the mindset of getting rid of that mind trash and
Yep.
filling you with that positivity to get yourself going. So, excited to be here on a Monday.
Good.
You know what? We're going to start with the markets because, as you can see behind me, it is green. And if there was another shade of green that was greener than that green, I would make it that green, but it's not. It is green. And the market is looking fantastic.
It
So
sure does.
it does. Over the weekend, we had a pullback. We had expirations expiring, futures expirations expiring on Friday. So it temporarily dipped the price. And we knew that was going to happen. And what we didn't realize, because it kept kind of going down on Saturday, was what's happening. And all of a sudden, the bulls took, and they are rocking the market. So we are inches away. Well, it depends on what website you're on. Inches away from a $3 trillion market cap. There's a website out there called GoingGecko. They have it over $3 trillion. This one has it at 296 or 297. So we are like a sneeze away from 3 trillion. And that is
3
absolutely
trillion.
crazy because we were under 2 trillion, Chris, when we started this a few months ago.
Yeah. How crazy
And
is that?
to see that the adoption, right?
Mm-hmm.
The retail kind of people getting to understand and know it a little bit more, or maybe just having a little bit of FOMO and a fear of missing out and wanting to throw their money in. But we know that there is retail investment going on,
Oh, yeah.
but the majority of this money is coming from institutions, whales, pension funds, insurance companies, all kinds of things are what's really, really putting the money into this market. And, Chris and I, we talked about this over the weekend. And I was also having a conversation with another person about, where's all the money coming from? Bitcoin, which is the leader of this crypto asset market, right? It's the king. As you can see, it's got the largest market cap. It's the first one that came out. Bitcoin is the new gold. And it's just a matter of time before the $11 trillion that are sitting in gold start to trickle over. And if you look at the comparison between gold and Bitcoin, Bitcoin's up almost 400% in the last 12 months, if not a little bit more. Gold is down almost 8%. So not only do we have issues with inflation, but if you're invested heavily in gold, which I'm not saying it's a terrible investment. Again, this is not financial advice, just a couple opinions from a couple guys that are doing this for fun and doing our own research. It's down, and people are moving. Smart money is moving some of the money out of the precious metals into the digital gold, which is now Bitcoin. So as you can see, we are over $66,000 for Bitcoin here, market cap of 1.25 trillion, which is amazing. We're inches away from an all-time high. Could happen today. Just bounced off all-time high. It actually created one just a little while ago and pulled back a little bit, but that's the battle it's going to have. And Ethereum, for me, in my opinion, Chris, I know you feel probably similar, but I feel that there's more potential for increase in price in comparison to Bitcoin. What do I mean by that? So let's just say we go to $120,000 this cycle in Bitcoin. Well, that's a 2x, a 2x, a 200% gain from where we're at right now. I feel, and a lot of other experts in the area, not saying I'm an expert, but they feel that Ethereum could go 3, maybe even 4x from here.
Yep.
What are your thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, I agree. And that's kind of my advice also. Bitcoin and Ethereum are really those blue chips now. I mean, even Ethereum, it's I don't like calling Ethereum an altcoin either because it's really not. It represents 20-ish% of the entire market. So it's a blue chip. They're
Sure.
very safe in the world of investing, if that's a word. I agree. I think Ethereum is gonna rock, and I think a lot of those other coins are gonna rock even more. So yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. Bringing the chart
spread
back
it
here real
around.
quick for sure.
Yeah.
We're diversified. We're all diversified. I know Chris is in a bunch of projects. I'm probably in 20 different projects, ranging from 0.5% of my portfolio value to my largest holding, which is Ethereum, which is about I have it written down here. About 39%. It's probably more now that it's reached all-time high, so it's probably
Mhm.
closer to 40 or 41%. And then Bitcoin is my second largest holding, with Cardano in a little bit behind it in a third place. And that's going to rocket here in a minute as well. They're about to launch their DEX. They've got a lot more projects that are starting to launch on the platform, which when you have projects launch and there's usage, that means there's more need for the coin to have in their banks or their platforms to make it run. So very, very exciting. Solana, another exciting project, doing great. XRP is up today as well. We know that there's a lot of news going to be coming out about the lawsuit with the SEC. Its price has been depressed, even though it has gained a lot. Price has been depressed because of the lawsuit, and we feel, and a lot of the community feels around here, the sentiment is the price could dramatically increase when they either settle or when they find out that Ripple Labs, which is the owner of that coin, the program that's in charge of it, of the XRP coin, if they win, they're going to increase dramatically. So, market is up all around. You see a lot of green on my portfolio. This is not my portfolio. This is the market cap. A lot of green there, but my portfolio is green as well. So, it's exciting to see that. Talk about the markets itself. And I didn't have the screen pulled up. I apologize. I'm going to take a look on my phone real quick. And I'm on CNBC, and we've got the Dow Jones up very, very minimal, just a tenth of a percent. S&P's up a fraction as well. Same thing with the Nasdaq. Pretty stable across the board. There was the news on Friday where Elon, his amazing tweets that he was going to sell 10% of his holdings in Tesla. Well, what happened? The price dropped. Even though he didn't sell today, price dropped temporarily. It did come back. It hasn't rebounded to the high on Friday, but believe it or not, I couldn't believe it didn't drop even further. And for me, I liquidated all my Tesla today. I own 0 Tesla at this moment. I'm holding it in cash. We're going to find out what's going to happen with the volatility. Is it going to pull back even more? And is there going to be another entry point at a lower point? Is it going to pull back to 700 again or 800 again in the next 30 days or what? We don't know. So that money is on the side. It's profit, and it's in my retirement account, which means I can make these moves tax free or tax deferred. And I'm going to see what happens and see how it plays out. But right now, they approved the stimulus bill, which is $1.8 trillion. More money going to be printed, which devalues the dollar even further. So believe me, that cash is not going to sit there for long. It's going to be put in something that's going to be able to work for me and gain some interest or some returns over this time until I really want to figure out what's happening. So, where are you at on the traditional markets right now, Chris?
It's funny. I pulled up a graph, and I think we'll share it later on in this week about the risk versus your age matrix. Meaning basically the older you get, the safer your investments need to be. There are still some really safe investments in the traditional markets. I mean, you and I talk about it all the time with the ETFs and different funds. Those are still very safe, run by very smart people. So yeah, I mean, if you're if you're a little risk averse, still don't totally understand this whole crypto market, and you want to stick with those, then they are there. Ford has had
Absolutely.
an amazing year. Ford, 100-year-old company, so still
Exactly.
killing it.
Yeah. So innovation, you got to be innovating, right? You got to innovate yourself, which we're going to kind of chat about here in a second. You got to be innovating as a company. So with that, let's move on to our next segment. That's the market in a nutshell. We're green. We're feeling
Mm-hmm.
very positive for the future, but how do we get out of our own way? We got to figure out how to get our own
Exactly.
way. And I know Chris is going to really dive into this, and I'll throw in my 2 cents as we chat.
Yeah, no, that's kind of everything. But before we do that, what do you guys got to help us with? Hitting that like button. Give us some love. Really helps. Helps to share this really valuable information with other people. So, but we had an incredible interview on Friday. What do you think, John? Did you dig
Absolutely.
that?
It was deep.
Yeah.
We asked a question, and things that I wanted to ask that we probably didn't have time for were answered in such
Yeah.
concise ways, and just so many amazing nuggets. If you
Yeah.
haven't watched that
Casey.
stream, go back on Friday, rewatch it. I
Yeah.
mean, we're talking about a multi-millionaire who started and stopped numerous businesses,
Mm-hmm.
knows what failure is all about, how to succeed, or not necessarily failure, but
Learn.
obstacles.
Yeah.
Right, obstacles. He would not admit that he failed, and that's
Yep.
great.
I love
It's
that.
just a way to get from point A from point B. Again,
Yep.
without losing that enthusiasm. If you think about a failure, you fill yourself with mind trash.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm a failure. Oh my gosh. Then you can't move forward. But he doesn't look at it that way. So please go back and watch that stream on Friday.
Yeah.
Amazing. I would say watch it 4 or 5 times.
Exactly. And yeah, I agree with that 100%. And I love that too. I mean, I'm not afraid to say I didn't fail, but my failures, kind of like what Casey said, they weren't an end point. I didn't, boo-hoo. I may have been in my feelings because nobody likes sliding backwards, but I learned from every one of them. And so, my failures haven't been a negative part of my life. They have been a growing part. Same kind of thing they talk about, like when a market really goes into a bear market in the investment world, it's not necessarily a bad day. That's the day when you get to buy stuff on sale. So, those failures in life aren't necessarily a terrible thing. And his interview on Friday really had me thinking about some of the similarities that I've gone through from his story. And a lot of it was my belief in myself that stuff is going to work out. I had, when my first son was born, who's 17, almost 18, when he was born, I had an amazing career. My neighbors were all envious of what I did. I worked for Porsche, the car. It was amazing.
There's no substitute.
There is not. There is not. I love my Porsche, and yeah. But it was an amazing career. I had this great career. It paid me a lot. I had, I met a lot of amazing individuals, both people I worked with and customers, because the people that are buying a Porsche are usually pretty sharp, pretty amazing people. So I had that, that ability to meet a lot of different people from a lot of walks of life. And I decided to quit one day because I had gotten into health. I had gotten into organic food, learning about, at that point in time, it was limiting my meat intake, and I ended up becoming vegetarian. That's a whole another story. But I started to learn about nutrition and health, and really how you can just thrive, not to play that word, in life just by what you put in your body. And I had become so passionate about that and teaching other people how they could live like that I decided to quit this amazing job. I had never had a restaurant before. Never really had been a chef before. I had never been super interested in cooking until I had learned a little bit about the food I was putting in my body and the power behind it. I got a little interested in cooking just for my family. So from that to deciding, hey, I'm going to open a restaurant, like my, my family, a lot of my circle of friends was like, what? Like what would possess you to want to open a restaurant? And a lot of it was my belief that I could. that I wouldn't fail, that I was going to do whatever it took to succeed, which I did because it took a lot. And I quit. I did. I had saved enough money. I've always lived, as John always says, live way beneath your means, save for a rainy day. And I had done that. I wasn't those people that needs to live beyond my means. I never needed a huge house or all these cars or whatever. I lived within my means. I had saved I had built a retirement fund, and I decided at that time that it was more important to cash out my retirement fund and open a restaurant than it was to wait for the future and to keep doing what I was doing with this employment. So my own self-belief in that I was going to do whatever it took was huge. Got into the restaurant world, 10 years later, realized it wasn't for me. And was introduced to our industry now, which is, it's the network marketing industry. And I was like a lot of people. I was one of those people. I was like, nah, it's not for me. I don't know how to do it. I don't have a lot of friends. I don't want to sell to my friends. I don't want to do any of that. The product turned me over. And so I started looking at this industry that was really amazing. And that's when I really look back on my past and how it had changed my mom's life and her ability to stay home with my brother and I. And I realized how grateful I was for that industry and decided to dive into this again with my belief that I can learn it, because anything's learnable, right? I mean, you can YouTube anything, you can learn anything. I kind of had faith in myself that I would learn it. And one of the things I learned very early on, and when I transitioned, I wasn't in a good place. I had become really miserable with the restaurants, and I had started to, my own self-doubt had set in. I had started to not look forward to any day, much less like a Monday. And so I had lost that visualization. And visualization is one of the things one of the topics that I wanted to bring up. When you are not in a good place, it's really important to continue to visualize the place where you want to be. And I had gotten so deep into this place I didn't want to be that I had lost that vision. I was literally surviving. That was it. I would get up, single dad. If I had my boys, I'd get them to school. I'd go to the restaurants, work for a bit, excuse myself in the afternoon, go pick them up from school, drop them off somewhere, go back to the restaurant, work until I was able to go home, make them dinner, put them to bed, do homework. The next day is the same thing. I was just surviving. And so once I started to realize that, like, this was not, I looked at my 5-year trajectory and I scared myself. Where I saw myself in 5 years was really not a good place. So I had to change the people I was around. I had to change my friends. Like I think John said a few days ago. What did you say? Show me your 5 friends and you'll be the 6th, or
Absolutely. If you got 5 failures or 5 negative persons in your circle, you're going to be number 6.
Yeah.
If you got 5 millionaires, you're going to be number 6. Just give it a time. You just got to, you got to make sure you're understanding who your time is being spent with.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do to help people that are watching this video to help to start believing themselves?
Right, exactly. And so that's really what I had to do in it. And it really it changed the whole trajectory of my life. I was really on this downward slope, and all of a sudden, boom, like the markets. So step number 1, for me that I wrote down was change your perspective. From everything. And again, going back to how Casey starts his day and a lot of the stuff that he talked about, changing your perspective and changing really, like, the faith that you have in yourself, where you feel like you can get to, your hopes and your dreams. You got to start changing that from like, well, I guess I'm settling. I guess I'm doomed to this for the next 5 years, to being like, you know what? At one point in my life, I was great. I was, I was happy. I was bright. I still feel like I'm kind of smart. Let me change where I think I can go. So changing your perspective, huge, very, very kind of fundamental, Change yourself. From there, number 2 would be start admiring yourself. Mel Robbins, who I love, she just did a little post the other day about one of her new habits is she gets up in the morning, she goes to the bathroom, she high fives herself in the mirror. Awesome, right? I thought that was cool. And I love Mel Robbins because she gives you little 1-minute tips like that. And she said every morning now she goes into the bathroom, she looks herself in the mirror and she gives herself a high five. Because when you're giving somebody a high five, that usually means something's pretty awesome, right? So start admiring yourself and start telling yourself that, yeah, you are pretty awesome, whatever. And again, if it's little things, think about good things you did last week, good things you did yesterday, whether it's even being positive around your kids. It can be little things. Start thinking about the good things that you've done. And those little things start to change, right?
Yeah, I want to add to that. There's so many of us that we dwell in the past. We dwell on our failures, and not in a positive way. We remember the feeling almost like it's happening, and how that negativity felt to us, and like it really just pulls us down. And the only time you should be looking backwards is to see how far you came. And you got to be able to flip that and start remembering your wins.
Yep.
Right. I know we don't learn from our wins, but when you remember the wins and not all the things that you've done wrong, like subconsciously know that because you want to learn from those things, but remember your wins. When I was when I couldn't be out there playing sports, I would literally, with my eyes closed, be sitting in my bed, and I had my basketball, and I'd just be like tossing it up and down, and like visualizing the ball going into the rim. Just it wasn't going in; it was going up and down in my hand, or laying in bed and visualizing crushing the ball out of the park, or making a diving play. Like those are the things that I thought about when I was in my own mind, and it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to strike out. This guy's going to own me. I'm going to strike out, or I'm going to take that last shot at the buzzer, and it's not going to go in. Like right. That wasn't what. So you got to be careful when you're talking about making a change and doing the things that Chris just mentioned, of getting that positivity in your mind and getting rid of the negative mind trash, because the negative mind trash is going to talk you out of everything.
Yep.
So sorry, I just wanted to kind of just.
No, you're 100% right. I get it. I totally agree. So the third one, again, kind of goes back to, me believing in health. Create healthy routines. And that, like, it's funny because we all forget that. And you would think that more people would understand that what you put in your body only gets its energy, its health from one place, what you eat. And like, I'm always amazed that people kind of forget that. And I had forgotten it as well. So creating an actual healthy routine, can again, kind of change your whole outlook. And I will often tweet out the same thing: conquer your morning and you're going to conquer your day. And that can mean anything. It can mean, I remember when I had first started, that first week, that first 10 days of deciding that the rest of my life was going to be better, I YouTubed this girl that puts out little 7-minute yoga stretches in the morning. And I was like, you know what? I'm feeling like a mess. Let me try this yoga stretching. And I started doing that every morning, 7 minutes. That's all it was, like a little yoga video. And it was great. I started eating healthier. I've always eaten really, really healthy, but I started actually watching what I was putting in, cut down on the snacking. And all of a sudden you start to feel a little bit better. And now your mind habits are a little bit better. And what you're telling yourself is a little bit better. And you know what? You're doing that every day. And it's like compound interest. We talk about compound interest all the time. Compounding how you are talking to yourself every day, it can change your life. And it does. It can change your life in a downward slope, or it can change it in an upward slope. And so I decided that it was going to be an upward slope. Which again, that leads me to the fourth point is look what you are feeding your mind. Number 3 is look what you're feeding your body. Number 4 is look what you're feeding your mind. Instead of watching, and John and I talked about this last week, instead of watching the news, which is never going to leave you feeling like a champion, go on YouTube, watch some motivational videos. Watch John and I. There's a lot of places that are going to leave you feeling like you can, a lot more than watching MTV or the all the shows. I don't even know how many shows there are. I don't watch those shows because I decided not to. But there's a whole lot of reality shows you don't need in your day. I promise you. Number 5, we already kind of touched on it. Look at your circle. What is your environment like? I surround myself with people like John. And it's huge. Like, when John and I talk, even not on camera, like, they're good conversations. I get stuff out of them. I hope he gets stuff out of them.
For sure.
Surrounding yourself, even just on a friendly basis. And I get it. I've had friends for 30 years. We're always going to be friends. I don't talk to them every day. Yes, I'm their friend. If they need me, I'm always there for them. But, on a day-to-day basis, I choose who I surround myself with because I want to elevate myself to that place. And then my number 6, I always, I put down is look at your goals because, for me, being aware of where I want to get to is key. They call it your why. I love what Casey said. He has his vision boards all over his house. He has them on like beside his bed in his bathroom. Your vision boards, your goals. It might sound corny, but put them on Post-it notes. Put them everywhere. Put them on the fridge. If you're trying to lose weight, put a Post-it note on the fridge so you look at it every time you go to the fridge. Whatever that is, but be aware of where you want to get to, because if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there? So what do you think, John? Were those
Absolutely. I love those points. So, the most important thing before anything is understanding what you're thinking about. I mean, it all comes down to this. We're going to have many, many streams, and we're always going to go back to similar points because they're all interconnected, intertwined. 75% of all your conversations that you're ever going to have in this world are going to be between you and you. That's it. What are you telling yourself? Are you saying you can or you can't?
Right.
This is important.
You're right.
You're right either way.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you say I can or I can't, you're correct.
Yep.
It's which way you want to go, right? You got to understand that if you're not believing in yourself, and I know this was a question was how do we start believing in yourself? It's not a how, it's a do. It's you just do, right? You get rid of the mind trash, you forget about the past, learn from your experiences, visualize your wins, and know it can be done.
Yep.
I'm no different than anybody else that's watching this. I have been in trouble. I thought my life was over. Living in a trailer park. I had a single dad that was a bartender and alcoholic. And here I am, successful. How? Nobody gave it to me. Right? No one handed Chris what he has today.
Yep.
We chose to live in a positive way and live for our goals and fill our mind with positivity because that's what it takes to go to the next level.
Right.
If you can't believe it and you can't dream it and you can't fill your mind with it, it will never, ever happen.
Mm-hmm.
Is it hard? Yeah, it is. It can be.
It can be.
Can there be some easier times within your journey? There can be. Can there be some super hard? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But the most important thing is that you need to believe that you can. Right? Don't let that other 5 people in your circle say that you can't. Because if you believe them, you won't.
Yeah, that's it.
Surround yourself with people that know that you can or have done it, right? It's as easy or as hard as you want to make that segment of our stream be. Can it be hard? You can make it really, 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 really hard.
Yep.
But you can also make it to work in your favor and hit those goals. So, great points, Chris. I mean, it seems simple. It seems, I've heard that 7 or 8 times already or 100 times or whatever. But the most important thing is, are you doing it? right? Just because you heard something
Yeah.
doesn't mean you learned anything. So,
And that's why it's important to get reminded of that. You know, you're right. Nothing is revolutionary there. A lot of us have heard that
no,
before, but it's that reminder. And you know what? I mean, if you heard it a year ago and didn't do anything, maybe today's different.
for
So,
sure. Tony Robbins says repetition's the mother of skill.
yep.
Doing things over and over again, it becomes a skill or a habit or whatever it may be. So you've got to do things over and over again before you become comfortable with it. Because being uncomfortable, that is where change happens outside of your comfort zone.
Yes.
So you got to make that choice, and you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yep.
To make the changes, to make the big changes you need in your life, and continue to watch us. Please like and subscribe.
Absolutely.
Share this video. We're on socials now. We're on Facebook and we're on YouTube. We're going to be sharing stuff coming up on Instagram and Twitter, and just share the information out there because somebody needs this information. I hope you need it, but if you don't, share it with somebody who does.
Yep.
And help us out and help your friend, help your family member, because we're going to be here spreading positivity and knowledge 5 days a week, sometimes more. But you know where to find us, and we're here just about every day at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So with that, Chris, what do you got to say? End us with something positive.
That's about it. I ended the same way every day. I tell everybody to make today amazing.
Absolutely, guys.
And that's it. We'll be back tomorrow. See you guys soon.